Hello everyone, this is James at Innotech Tech Talk. I'm here today to review the MyDigitalSSD Bulletproof USB 3.0 mSATA SSD Enclosure. Now I know that sounds like quite a mouthful, but I assure you that the enclosure is quite small. For today's review we're going to cover three topics: specifications, build quality, and use case. Let's go ahead and get started with specifications. Now this enclosure is built out of a durable aluminum material. It is USB 2.0 and 3.0 compliant. It's compatible with SATA 1, 2, and 3, and the physical dimensions are 74 mm by 42 mm by 13 mm. The folks over at MyDigitalDiscount.com were kind enough to post a notice on the product page letting us know that they don't recommend using this enclosure with Toshiba branded mSATA drives, and this is due to overheating issues. They've also stated that this enclosure is not compatible with PCIe SATA SSDs. So if you're going to buy the enclosure, make sure you're using it with an mSATA SSD. Let's go ahead and talk about build quality. As the name suggests, this is an extremely rugged enclosure. Let me go ahead and give you a quick look at it. As you can tell, it is pretty thin. Not very big at all. If I place it up to the palm of my hand, you can see I can easily put it in the palm of my hand without any troubles. And I'm not a person with extremely large hands, so I consider my hands quite average. Now, if I take and place the middle of the drive between my thumb and forefinger and apply pressure, I'm not getting any flex whatsoever out of this casing. You can also tell that the middle piece is one solid piece of aluminum, and on each end is a separate piece that's screwed on by two screws. So on this end here we got the USB input, and if you can see here there's a little pinhole, and that's actually a hard drive light, or a drive activity light rather, and on the other side it's just a couple of screws and a solid plate. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you how easy it is to install an mSATA into this drive enclosure. Now aside from sending the case and the USB 3.0 cord that goes with it, they've also sent a little screwdriver. Now this is actually quite handy for those of us that may not have a mini screwdriver in our toolkit. So let me go ahead and start taking this apart. Screw one is out, and there goes screw two and the plate. So let me go ahead and show you here. Here's the little plate that I took off, and you can see it's got the screw hole here and here, and then the little pinhole for the drive activity light. Put that down, and you can see here, try to get some better lighting. I apologize, I don't have the best camera equipment. You just slide out the circuit board that the mSATA is seated in, and that's what it looks like. Now the thing I really like about this is you don't have to screw in the mSATA. It's actually held in with a little retention clip. So let me see if I can just get that on camera. So all you do is you pull on these little retention clips, and the drive pops out, and just pull it out like so. So there you go, and there's the circuit board. Go ahead and install it back in. So you just you place the mSATA connector into the circuit board where it seats. Once it's fully seated, just push down on it and you'll hear a little clicking sound where the retention clips pop over the edge of the drive. So then when you go to put it in the enclosure, it's probably hard to see on this camera, but there's a little rail system right here on the edge that's underneath the eyelets for the screw holes, and you put it in that little rail system and just push it right in. And when you do that, make sure that you have the USB 3.0 port sticking outwards. after that, it's just a matter of screwing on the end plate and you're all set. So as far as installation goes, it is very easy. It doesn't require any technical expertise at all. So you don't have to be a PC technician to buy this drive enclosure and install a drive in it. Now let's go ahead and talk about the cord a little bit. Now at the price point that this drive sells for, I would have preferred a braided cord, something with a little bit more flex or play in it. This is just a standard USB 3.0 cord. It's pretty good quality, and I think over time, as you use it, it'll start to develop a little bit more play in it and not be quite as stiff. But when you first open it up and you're using it, it is fairly stiff, so just be aware of that. Let's talk about what wasn't included that I would have liked to seen. I thought that at this price point it should have included a carrying case. They could have actually taken it a step further and included like a waterproof carrying case. Why not? I mean, it's a product that it's called bulletproof SSD enclosure. So the name itself instills a sense of rugged durability. So for people that, let's say, are on the road a lot or maybe across seas, it would have been nice to include at least a case to keep the cord and the drive together, but it would have been really cool if they would have included, let's say, a waterproof case. But let's go ahead and talk about that in the use case. So many of my viewers might be asking, why would I buy this? Why would I buy an enclosure for an mSATA and an mSATA drive instead of just buying a USB flash drive? Well, that's a really good question, and let me give you a couple scenarios where I think this is relevant. Now, if you watched my review on the Acer W700, you would know that I bought the model that had the 64 gig mSATA drive in it. And to me, that wasn't enough storage space, so I went ahead and bought a 240 gig mSATA to replace it with. And when you're done with the build, you're left over with, a nice 64 gig mSATA card. What do you do with it at that point? Do you just throw it in a anti-static bag and not use it anymore? Well, of course not. You might as well use it. So I did some looking around to find an enclosure for mSATA. There was a few out there, some of them big, some of them bulky, some of them meant to be used inside a desktop machine. And then I finally came across the bulletproof SSD enclosure and started reading about it, and I was like, well, this looks like it's perfect for what I want to use it for. So I bought it. It came in the mail, and after I got done doing the upgrade of the drive on my Acer W700, I took the 64 gig drive that came out of it and I put it in this enclosure. And this was really handy for a couple reasons. First of all, you could just take that drive, plug it in, and install a factory image from the factory partition that Acer puts on that drive onto your new drive. So we're talking about installing an operating system from a flash storage to a flash storage, and it occurs really quick. I mean, I think less than 20 minutes you can have a full up and running Windows 8 environment. However, I didn't want to go with the Windows 8 that came with my device. I actually installed Windows 8 Enterprise so I could run my device on a domain. So what I did instead was I installed my operating system, and then when I went to find the drivers, I just went and pointed back at the drivers that were already on my SSD that came with the Acer that was inside the external enclosure. So it's just a really quick and easy way to install the drivers without having to go to Acer's website and download them. Now, I don't know if any of you have tried that, but the download speeds are just ridiculously slow, so this really helped a lot. Now, the other thing that I really like is that I talked about I try to keep my devices in pristine condition. That way, if I ever go to resell them, the person that I sell it to has that same experience opening the computer for the very first time, like it's brand new, just like I did. So if and when I do go to resell my Acer, I can just restore it to a factory image, keep the 240 gig drive in there, and it's like you're opening it up right out of the box from Acer. So that was what really worked out for me. So I still have my backup of the factory image from Acer, and then I have a little bit of storage left over that I could put files and programs and stuff like that on. So it's a really nice technician tool. So let's talk about that too. You know, getting an mSATA drive, it can be cheaper as you start going up in storage capacity. So let's look at something like an mSATA with a storage capacity of over 400 gigs. When you compare that to an external USB flash drive, the price is actually quite a bit different. I know Kingston makes I want to say a 500 gig USB flash drive that costs about, I'd say $1,500. Now, if you're a road warrior and you're doing a lot of business and you have to back up your files and you need, you know, a larger external drive and you want the durability and the speed that comes with having flash storage, this is a great alternative, because you can buy a 480 gig drive for a little over $400 and then buy this enclosure, throw it in there, and I mean, you got a really nice storage capacity, and it's flash storage, and it's a really good speed. It's USB 3.0. So that's the other, you know, way that you can use it. Now, I actually, just this last weekend, my uncle was up here visiting me. He lives in Virginia, and he came up here to visit because he's on his way back to Afghanistan. He serves our country. And as he was here, we were talking about, you know, electronics and the kind of stuff that he does when he's not on duty there. You know, he's on his own off time or his personal time. And he said to me that, you know, a lot of him included, and a lot of the troops and contractors out there have their own external drives that they'll keep movies and pictures and music and stuff like that on. So, you know, they'll often go with a large capacity, like 500 gig hard drive, external hard drive. Now, the problem with those is that we all know that, you know, if you drop an external hard drive, you know, from anything more than a couple feet, you can pretty much count on ruining the drive and possibly losing your data. And, you know, when you're in Afghanistan, that's a combat environment. It doesn't matter if you're a soldier or not. Even if you're on base, there's always a chance that you have to get up and run or be on the go or something, you know, in case of emergency. Now, you can imagine, you know, just place yourself in this scenario that, you know, you're in Afghanistan, you're on base, you know, something goes on, you need to get up in a hurry, you drop your drive, you lose all the pictures of your family, all your music, all your movies that are going to be holding you over for the time you're there. Well, why not get a solid state drive instead? You can get the capacity now. Granted, it is a little bit more expensive, but you're paying for the comfort knowing that you have something more durable. You can take this, you can drop it. I mean, I can drop it from well over 6 feet and it's not going to hurt this device. It's not going to hurt my drive that's inside here. I'm not going to have to worry about the read-write head skipping over the platter, because there's no moving components, there's no platter. This is all flash storage. The other thing is that, you know, when you go overseas like that, space counts. So, you know, I know a lot of external hard drives aren't that big these days, but still, compare that to the size of this, as well as weight, and this wins 10 out of 10. So this is a really good use for that. And I'm thinking what I'm going to do is buy a large capacity SSD and put it in one of these and give it to him, just so he can, you know, have the comforts of home while he's over there. So that would be another use case. And, you know, I don't mean to get all sentimental, but, you know, I think that this is a perfect example of how this drive can be used. Its durability, its size, its weight. Like I said, a case would be nice. I might go out and find, you know, some kind of a waterproof case that I can buy and put it in. That way, you know, when he's got it in his backpack or his duffel bag or whatever, he doesn't have to worry, you know, at all about you know, getting any kind of liquids in, getting any kind of dust. That's one thing in Afghanistan. There's a lot of dust and sand everywhere, so he can keep this nice and safe and keep his digital files. So when he's over there, he has the comforts of home. So that's about it. That wraps it up for me. Like I said, great tool for IT technicians, road warriors, any of you, soldiers that are going over to Afghanistan that you want to have your files with you, your music, your movies, your pictures. This is a really good alternative. I encourage you to do something like this rather than a hard drive. And that's about it. So I hope you all like this video, and continue tuning in on my channel, because like I said, I'm going to be doing more videos here. I'm not just focusing on computers. I want to hit all kinds of technology, new devices, even peripherals or enclosures. I'm not going to limit myself to one type of device. So if you have any requests of reviews that you'd like me to do, please post them and I'll try to do it as soon as possible. Once again, thank you. I appreciate you watching my video.